50 years, AIM has helped enable an interconnected society. AIM has gone from a group of 4 organizations to one with hundreds worldwide. AIM has achieved all of this through providing insights, establishing regulatory impact, creating and maintaining standards, and verification. Now let's hear about how AIM started and grew through the years, starting with our first president, Ed Anderson.
We started in the 70s as companies, and 1972 or 73, 4 companies got together and wanted to create an association and got involved with the Material Handling Institute as an umbrella organization. That had pluses and minuses. The biggest plus was it got us into a structure to begin organizing. The minuses was that it was the material handling industry, and that was only a portion of the broad market for our technologies. I think it all began to change in the 1980s when we within AIM started to thinking outside of the box. So we went ahead and did the first Stantec, and that basically opened the Pandora's box for us. So we get into an environment where we had a lot of people that wanted to be exhibitors. We had tremendous response from the customer base, even though it was a very modest show in 1982 in Dallas. After that show, the Shea Management CEO, who was the management company for MHI, L. Shea, approached me. I was the incoming president, product section chairman for AIM, and he planted the seed that we ought to consider forming an independent trade association. We thought about it, we talked about it within AIM. We put it before the committee and the membership for a vote, and we got unanimous approval. So we went ahead with the cooperation of Shea Management and created AIM Inc. And I was its first president. I remember signing the documents. And that just opened all sorts of opportunities for us.
Now that AIM was off and running, let's hear about how our standards and industry work continued the growth through the years.
Starting in the early 80s, 83, something like that, 82, 83, and the 10 years following that, because the industry was new, because there was a pervasive sense of excitement and possibility what the industry could become, because so much of the sort of foundational innovation work was being done. As I said, whole categories of products were being developed, not just by us, but others in the industry. So that generates excitement. The growth rates were very high, measured in percentage growth rate terms. AIM was new. So the coming together of a group of like-minded people working toward a common purpose, that generated a genuine sense of enthusiasm and excitement by all of us involved. I mean, even something that in other contexts could be seen as a dry subject wasn't. I mean, one of my activities relatively early, I forgot what year it was, but it was sometime certainly in the 80s. I was the founding chairman of a committee within AIM that was the Technical Symbology Committee. That was the committee that did the standards writing for many of the barcodes, that I think the first 5 barcodes that had official industry-wide standards. We wrote those standards. I think there were 5 or maybe 6 of us on that original committee. We knew that was important work. I mean, we knew that until we came up with a common language, that you could end up with a balkanized situation with different variations on these different barcode symbols.
A couple of AIM members got together and invented the TSC, and I will name Rich Brobman and Roger Palmer as 2 incredible mentors of mine who were there starting the standards world, and Andy Longacre also, and probably others, but I wasn't involved in that. But they literally invented the idea of a barcode standard, and they published a standard with AIM, this upstart industry group, and suddenly everyone could print and read according to the same rules, and that was incredibly instrumental in getting the barcode technology adopted as quickly as it had. And then in the 90s, when all these other application groups started to adopt barcode, they needed a way to grade the quality of the barcode, because at that time, there's lots of people making barcodes, but they didn't always work. And then there was these devices called verifiers that could tell you how good a barcode was, but they all gave different grades. And there was just a real need for commonality in the quality area, and coming up with a quality standard. That's was my involvement in all of these application groups. I helped them understand the quality standard we had developed. They had to pick an aperture for scanning. They had to pick a grade level. They needed to understand how the barcodes would be graded, and that thread carried on to 2D standards. In the 2000s, it carried on to DPM, which has had the same problem. People would make these beautiful marks, but no one could scan them. And getting a optically based scanner standard there was critical to the explosive growth of DPM scanning.
Now let's hear about why AIM's important for today and beyond.
As the industry moved into a mature industry, the focus of AIM also had to shift too a little bit, not just generation of the standards, but to bring the companies together to focus on what was good for the whole industry. It was the only organization, and is the only organization, that allows companies to send their innovators, their technologists, to sit at the same table to work on something that's good for the entire industry and what's good for the customers of those companies.
So without these standards that AIM has been promoting, endorsing, creating, the world would not operate as smoothly as it does today.
What are the value of standards? Well, obviously the value is it works. It makes it work. People would say, not knowing what I did, what do you do in the barcode world? And I'd say, well, my job pretty much is to make sure that it beeps.
Our technologies enable accuracy, speed of delivery, all those things which impact us even this last 50 years, especially now.
An organization like AIM is crucial to everyone involved in the ecosystem of delivering and using the technology. So if you play a role in that ecosystem, you should be at the table and part of AIM. It's for the greater good.
Thank you for watching this video. If you would like a deeper dive into our history and the many ways we will be celebrating our milestone anniversary, scan the QR code. And special thank you to our sponsors. Premier sponsors Zebra Technologies, Identiv, Avery Dennison, TSC Printronics, CISC.